we begin, there are a few rules that I need to tell you. One being you're more than welcome to take pictures. However, we have beds inside the cave and they are bed sensitive to camera flashlights. So ask that you do not use the flash when taking pictures of the beds. But anything else with the formations as well, you can definitely use the flash. Then very importantly, please do not touch the calcium formations inside the cave, as by doing so will disturb their growth. Then lastly, we do not smoke or litter inside the cave. Then you want to go in on a tour, which is 600 meters. Walk upright most of the way, and then towards the end, there's some bending involved, which is optional. Okay? So now we've entered a cave of which the basic rock structure is called dolomite. Dolomite is a sedimentary rock that formed 2,500 million years ago during the Precambrian time period. Excuse me, can you just wait for them as well? Okay, this is a sedimentary rock that formed 2,500 million years ago during the Precambrian time period when the low-fault area was covered by warm shallow inland seas. And today this rock, it formed 2,500 million years ago. Then today it consists of the minerals calcium, magnesium, and manganese oxide. And then another local name for the rock is called the elephant skin rock, as it has the light grey wrinkle texture of an elephant skin. Then if we look this side, here we have these dark marks. These are soot marks left over from fires built by the Swazi people who used the caves as a refuge in the early and mid-1800s. So at one stage, one group would hide inside, while the other group outside would try and build massive bonfires to try and suffocate or smoke them out. However, all of that did not work as the cave consists of a natural flow of fresh air coming in all the time. But I'll tell you more about the human history as we proceed with the talk. Then normally when you go to a cave, you'll hear a lot about the stalactites and the stalagmites. The stalactite is a type of a rock that grows from the ceiling of the cave moving downward, and the stalagmite is the one that grows from below moving upward. Then here we have the first formation in front of us, named the low-fault rocket due to its appearance. It consists of a stalactite from above, joining a stalagmite from below, which is also partly covered by some flowstone formation. It is 14 meters in height and it is 2.5 meters in diameter. It is approximately 150 million years old. So the average growth rate for the formations inside the cave is 2.5 centimeters every 100 years. All the formations inside the cave are still active, but they mostly depend on the amount of rainfall we receive. We are now 6 meters below surface, and then the rainwater takes 6 to 8 weeks to permeate through the dolomite rock. So it takes close to about 2 months for the rainwater to reach the inside of the cave. And if you guys have no questions, let us proceed this way.
What are the structures on the top of that?
Okay, and then over here we have our small formation which we call the baby. The baby is a small stalactite which is about 300 years old. You perhaps recall that I said the average growth rate for stalactite is 2.5 centimeters every 100 years. This baby is an active one, but depending on the amount of rainfall we receive. As that, the water is slowly seeped through the topsoil, which is rich in humus on account of bacterial decay. The water then absorbs a quantity of carbon dioxide, therefore resulting in the formation of carbonic acid. The water percolating through is therefore acidic, and when it comes into contact with the calcium in the dolomite, it dissolves the calcium. Then the water emerging from the ceiling of the cave is therefore rich in calcium, and in order to grow, the drop of water needs to remain up here for several hours, giving the water enough time to evaporate or dry out, and also deposit a ring of calcium around the circumference of the stalactite. The next drop will do the same thing, and slowly the stalactites will start to grow ring by ring. It forms a hollow tube which slowly fills up, And if you cut a stalactite, it has rings like a tree. This is called concentric structure. Then the extra drop of water carries extra calcium to the floor of the cave. Then that is where we get the stalagmite formation growing from below. This one would have been a bump, but it won't grow any further because we step on it. But in its simplest form, the stalagmite grows from the extra drop of water coming from the stalactite above. Is everyone still fine? Okay, then here we have a flowstone formation. And then the flowstone formation, it differs from the stalactite. Stalactite, it forms rings and has a concentric structure, but a flowstone forms from slow seeping water which deposit the calcium in layers. The flowstone's inner structure is therefore porous, and when you hit it, it makes a hollow noise which travels through the rock at a rate of 1500 meters per second. And this one was used as an alarm system to alert people of possible attackers around. It was named Somquba's Gong after the leader of the Swazi people. Then I'll show you guys now the difference between the normal dolomite rock and the flowstone formation that makes sound. Okay? So here we have the normal dolomite rock. And here we have the flowstone formation that makes sound. Super loud, you can hear it. You can hear it inside the cave, outside the cave, and even down in the parking lot. Yes, those of you with stress and tantrums is very good to release everything. If you have stress.
जुट्टू गप्पा हो रहा है यार
Look at the
Okay.
Okay, and then down here we have some excavations done in the early 1900s.
Okay, one more.
But
Try one more.
prospectors we insert.
Okay, one more, just one more.
So during the Anglo-Boer War, the Boers used the cave to hide the ammunition for the long-term campaign. Therefore, people started believing that there was gold inside the cave. However, the only thing of value that was found was just black droppings of guano, which is also called black gold, as it is a valuable fertilizer. The prospectors then excavated about 2,000 tons and sold it to the farmers in the Crocodile Valley. And that is why Mpumalanga is so green today. It's the bat's poop. Okay? So if you guys need a nice cute garden, just talk to me after that so we can make it there for one. Okay? Right. And if you look up here, you see that there are these different layers in the rock. This darker part is called the chats, then the lighter part is the dolomite. And you guys will notice that this chat layer is sticking out all over the cave. The reason why it's sticking out is because it's very hard. On a scale of hardness from 1 to 10, this chat layer would score a 7 while the dolomite scores a 3. So when the water came in to erode, the dolomite was eroded more faster than the chats. That's why it's sticking out all over the cave. Then another thing you'll notice, this chat layer has naturally formed a half map of Africa, starting from this point, moving with it this way. Here's our Angola right here, Namibia right here. Here's our South African tip right here. Moving it past Swaziland, now approaching Mozambique. Naturally formed by this chat layer. Can everyone see the map? Yes, so you won't get lost inside here.
Quiz. Take the pictures out. Flash, a fucking flashlight.
Okay? Right, and then if you look up here, see that there are these roots from fig tree. These are not strings, they are roots from a wild fig tree. And then these roots has penetrated the dolomite rock 11 meters looking for water. The tree is still active and growing outside the cave.
Outside.
Yes. And here's another root over here, a bigger one. And here's the other right this side. Okay? And then down here we have our stalagmite formations, which we call the three praying nuns. So over the years, there hasn't been a chance for stalactites to grow from up here. That's because the water drips too fast. If the water drips too fast, we get the stalagmite formations growing from below. Then for stalactites, we need slow seeping water, ideally 1 drop every 24 hours. So over the years, there hasn't been a chance because these roots has increased the size of the cracks. Therefore, when the rainwater come in, they're dripping in too fast. That is why we have the stalagmite formations down here. And then these nuns have been praying for 40 million years, and the fourth nun gave up praying and drank the communion wine. So this one is still a bit drunk. It had a blackout, okay? Then on this side, here we have the small amphitheater, but it is no longer in use as it has suffered damages due to recent rains. However, we do have a much bigger amphitheater as we move along with the tour, okay? We proceed this way.
Yo, it's beautiful. Wow.
Okay? And then over here we have our formation which we call the screaming monster. Then people see all sorts of different things when they look at these formations. I personally see a King Kong or a gorilla doing this. Someone else will tell you they're seeing a lion, some they see an eagle, some will tell you they're seeing a dinosaur, and then they say this will be the head of the dinosaur. And then some people they say they see the Statue of Liberty, which I cannot see, but it's okay. So with the formations here, it's all about a human's imagination. No one is wrong, it's all human imagination. And then the screaming monster here is a combination of a stalactite, a stalagmite, and a flowstone formation as well. Then this one is 160 million years old. Then every year, Sudwala caves host a 21-kilometer running race called the Race of the Screaming Monster. Part of the race goes through the cave. Then these are the only caves in the world that host a running race inside the actual cave. The entry is limited to 250 runners. So if you guys are up for a challenge, you may come back and join us in May. Then over here we have another flowstone. And for obvious reasons, it is called the Magnum ice cream. Okay? If you look, this will be the vanilla inside, and then here's the chocolate right outside.
Oh, good. I tasted.
But this dark color that you see here is the mineral manganese oxide. Then when you guys are done with pictures, please follow me this way. Okay, and then down here we have some artifacts left in the cave that were used by the Swazi people. So when Sopuza, the king of the Swazi people, died, a dispute arose as to the leadership of the Swazi people. The rightful heir to the throne was Mswati, but he was a young 11-year-old boy, too young to take over the throne. So it was decided that one of his half-brothers, Somkuba, would act as regent until the young Mswati came of age. When the time came, Somkuba had already gained much wealth and refused to return the throne to the younger brother. Somkuba was then forced to flee out of the Swaziland area, and in doing so, he stole about 500 head of cattle from the younger brother. Then he eventually knew that his brother would come back and attack him. He then saw the potential to use these caves as a hideout and had it stockpiled with food. So when word came that Swati's warriors are withdrawing closer, He then retreated inside the cave with the head of cattle, and they could hide inside here for several weeks. Then when they would be inside here, these were the artifacts that were used. Here we have the first one, the baboon tail bush tree. This one was used as a torch or a candle. Then what they would normally do is they would break the bench like this, hit it in the end with the rock until it becomes fibrous or soft. They would dip it in melted animal fat, then light it right here. Then this candle would normally light up for about an hour. So the tree is very good for fire. Then they would also have fires as well for warmth, for cooking, and for lighting the cave. Then here we have the sharpening stone or the whetting stone. This one was used to sharpen the spears. And here we have the large grinding stone. This one was used by the women to grind their maize, their peanuts, their food most of the time. And here we have the small grinding stone. This one was used to start fire. So what they would do is they put dry grass underneath here, wrap the wood in between the palm of hands until the friction causes a hot coal or a spark. Then they would light up the baboon tail bush tree over here. And when you're done with pictures, please follow me this way. Okay guys, is anyone scared of a snake here? No. What's up? Let's proceed. Yes, if you are, please walk very close to me, please. Let's walk. Just walk very close, please.
Oh, big snake! Where is it?
I will tell you when the snake shows up, okay? Let's proceed.
इंदिरा को ये तो क्या छोड़ मतलब ठोकर बुलाया You're looking for anaconda?
Okay? Here we have a rock python which we call Monty. Right over here. Monty is not a real snake, it's just a rock that looks like a head of a snake. Yes, over here. We do not have the snakes inside the cave, as it is too cold and there's no food to eat as well. The temperature is constant at 17 degrees Celsius. It doesn't change. The only life form you'll see inside the cave is mostly the bat. Nonetheless, there's nothing harmful inside the cave. Okay? Let us proceed.
Let's go.
Okay, and then you guys will notice this green color here. These are fan plants growing because of the artificial light. They grow in the process of photosynthesis, so everywhere where there's a light, you'll notice that.